And welcome to the Football Revolution. I'm your host, Gio. Thanks for joining us. Some big results, too many red cards, and teams can't afford to be throwing away points in such a tight race. And joining me to chat about the week that has been, my co-host at BIG. How are you?
Good evening. Not so good.
Mate, we'll touch on that in a sec. But firstly, more importantly, did you spoil your wife on her birthday today?
I did.
I heard you had a pool party and you didn't invite me. I'm very offended.
Had some plans, but the little one was sick, so he didn't go to daycare today. So had him at home and spent some time by the pool. It was absolute scorcher. So good to have a few drinks by the pool.
Mate, if I was being a bit cynical, he was being a grass cutter.
He was.
He's in the way, mate. He's in the way. You don't get any time, any romantic time now that you've got a baby. And that one chance you get while he's at daycare, he decides, no, I'm going to stay home and be the main man.
Big grass cutter, and his grandma. His grandma actually bought him a toy lawnmower the other day. So maybe he got that out for a bit of practice.
I knew I was on the money. Last week, heroes, and now zeros. Your team won the EPL Cup last week. A week later, they've been smashed by Liverpool 7-0. You wouldn't have dreamed of that scoreline, would you?
Yeah, well, I think I was dreaming because lucky I didn't get up to watch it.
That's not a nightmare, mate. Not a dream.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I planned on waking up to watch it, but I had a late one last night and thought, I'll let it go. And when I woke up, checked my phone. It was like a bad dream. So no excuses. Liverpool were brilliant. They'll back to their best, and we know how good they can be. They've had a bit of a dip in form this season, but take nothing against their performance. They were brilliant, but these sort of things shouldn't happen to big teams.
7-0. What a disgrace. Anyway, I'll let you off the hook, guy. I've enjoyed this enough too much, and I'll let you get away with this one. But 32 teams have expressed interest in our national second division. Any surprises or shocking admissions? Who are the must-haves?
Yeah, look, there's no real big surprises. Obviously, like you said, in Sydney or in New South Wales, the big old NSL big guns, the Marconi, Sydney Olympics, Sydney United, Wollongong Wolves, they've all put their hat in the ring. The interesting one for me in New South Wales is the Sutherland Sharks and Cronulla Sharks. It's a joint venture or with a rugby league team. So I guess they'll play out at PointsBet Stadium where the Sharks play their rugby league. So that's a little bit interesting. And obviously the Shire, Sutherland Shire, is a massive hotbed for football. Junior football in the country. I think it's got the biggest participation rate or the biggest registration rate. So, I think that's an interesting one. And that they had a sort of failed bid for the Sutherland Shire in the A-League expansion a couple of years back that went to Macarthur. Some interesting ones in there. Fraser Park FC. I know I saw Anthony Albanese out there taking some photos in his Fraser Park kit.
Fraser Park, as well as, say, a team like if we look through the list, Brunswick, Juventus, do you see teams like this having any chance against, the big powerhouses that have been around a long time, who have waited 16 years to get a crack back at the big time? Or do you think this is going to be kind of like you've put your expression of interest in? That's a great achievement for a small club, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Look, at the end of the day, it all comes down to money. So if the club has the money to do it, if they have the facilities, if they have the backing, then why shouldn't they be given opportunities?
Bankstown United, your current MPL team, they're not making a late bid?
I don't think so, mate. I don't think so.
I thought that there might be a chance that they were coming in with a smoky, but maybe my intel was wrong. But
mate, moving, I want to retire next year. I don't want to be playing in the national second division, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, on the topic from a few weeks ago of Ed Sheeran, he proved how big a star he is off the stage as well as on it by performing for all the kiddies at the Royal Children's Hospital. So thank you, Ed Sheeran. You're an absolute legend. I loved your concert, and we can't wait for you to come back again. Quick update on the 160 kilometres for AVM update. Our superhuman Bulls physio, Brendan BMW Wyatt's upcoming Herculean run on the 15th of April in memory of Bulls skipper Willie de Villa's wife. Lily W is my new nickname for this legend. So it stands for Brendan Machine Wyatt. It also is, he's got his middle name is Michael, so it could be for that, but I definitely think he is an absolute machine. Sunday's Orange Marathon, he was hoping to run in under 3 hours, and unfortunately he fell just short by 37 seconds of his target, but he finished in 6th place, which was an amazing effort. Last week, the amount raised was just over 4K, and I'm pleased to say this week he has passed the 5K target, currently sitting at just over $5,400. I think we can still do more, so please go to the mycause.com.au link we have set up on our Direct Me page to donate. we'll have another update next week on what BMW is up to heading towards the big dance on the 15th of April.
Yeah, amazing. Look, for anyone that's pushing for 3 hours in a marathon he's absolutely moving. So hats off to him. I know he just missed his goal, but he's flying at the moment, and he's just humming along like a BMW, isn't he?
Yeah, mate, he's an absolute machine. Aussies abroad, no trophies, but plenty of game time for our lads. So not much to report on that. Premier League news. So Reece Nelson with a late winner as the Gunners fight back from 2-0 down to defeat Bournemouth. City dent fellow top 4 contenders Newcastle's push with a 2-0 win. Southampton jump off the bottom of the table with a crucial 1-0 win over the Foxes, leaving them just 1 point away from safety. So I think 17th is Leeds United. So they're hunting them down. So there is a race for survival. Brighton proving they're just fine without Potter, belting the Hammers 4-0 to sit on an impressive 8th, just 1 win behind 6th and ahead of Potter's Chelsea. I think they're having the last laugh on him. And Liverpool shows bitter rivals Man United and the rest of the league. There's plenty of fight left in Klopp's men with a stunning 7-0 dismantling of the Red Devils.
Yeah, where do I start? Let's go back to Arsenal. I think they've won 3 or 4 games now with winners in stoppage time this season. So, like I said, I think they've been the best team so far. I know we said last week it might go down to the wire, but when they're pulling off victories like this in stoppage time, maybe it's just meant to be for them this season.
Yeah, there's a force of good or evil somewhere pulling the Gunners towards a long overdue title, and if they do, good luck to Arteta and his team because they have been fantastic this year. So, player escape room. Last year's MPL Victoria men's gold medal winner Heidelberg striker Kaine Sheppard joins us for a chat. We wrap up match day 16 with a round 10 fixture thrown in of the A-League women's competition. Revolutionised Round-Up of the weekend's men's games. And is there anything I didn't see? BIG.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to talk about Aaron Moy because he's absolutely flying in Scotland. Another 2 assists overnight. I think they beat St Mirren 5-1. 5-1, was it? I think that's in his last 12 games now. I read somewhere that's 6 goals, 6 assists. So he's just absolutely thriving. Ange knows how good he is and what a player he is, and it obviously took him a little bit of time to settle in and adjust. And I think the World Cup did him a huge. It was so good for him. He's come back from that with so much confidence, and he's taken that into the Premiership now. And he's almost first name on that team sheet every week for Ange.
I'm sure Huddersfield wishing they still had him based on the way they've been. They've been on the slippery slide from the Premier League down, so they sure could do with our bald Aussie star. But getting into the A-League women's wrap, so powerful Melbourne City easily brush aside the home side Newcastle Jets 4-0 to keep the pressure on Western United and Sydney FC. An entertaining game that had 5 first-half goals, another added in the second, saw the host Canberra United defeat Adelaide United 4-2, and they can thank their star striker, former Matilda Michelle Heyman, who followed up last week's double with a hat-trick. Wellington missed the opportunity to claim a second win of the season and left Aru not taking their chances as Brisbane equalises late to steal a point on the road. Rachel Lowe helped herself to a brace as back-to-back premiers Sydney FC showed new kids on the block and league leaders Western United they are still chasing a treble, defeating them 3-0 at Jubilee Stadium. And Perth Glory entertained Western Sydney Wanderers, the match ending in a 1-1 draw, which probably is a fair result. 37 shots, only 8 on target and 2 goals, probably highlighting with more clinical finishing. Both teams could have won many more football games this season. Updated the table. So Western United's on 33, Sydney FC are on 30, Melbourne City on 28, Melbourne Victory on 23, rounding out the top 4 in the final spots, followed by Canberra United also on 23 and Perth Glory on 19. But there was a decision today that looks like Sydney will gain 3 points and Canberra will be deducted 3. They are appealing, so it's not set in stone yet. And with 4 rounds to play and a few catch-up games, there is no room for errors. There was a decision made that Canberra United used 4 subs in their game against Sydney FC, and you're allowed to make 5 changes, but you can only make the changes on 3 different occasions. So they made 4 changes on 4 different occasions. So should have been picked up by the 4th official. It wasn't. So now instead of them sitting nice and pretty here and basically a real contest here to beat Victory into the top 4, it looks like now that Sydney FC could jump to 33 equal with Western United, and they'll go down to 20, which means that they'll be chasing their tails. So we'll touch.
I'm not having that. I think if that wasn't picked up by the officials, it's the officials' job to understand the rules and to officiate on that. It's an honest mistake, I think, from Canberra, and they're going to get punished for something that the officials should have picked up on the day.
See, they are saying that they were under the impression, because they had a head injury, that they were able to make that fourth additional change. But the only player that went off injured was someone who was limping. So it is clouded in a little bit of confusion, a little bit of.
Well, was she walking on her head or something? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure what she was. I think she was walking on water, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly what she was doing. But look, it is a bit of mystery. I think it's because it's only come out today. It will take a little time for the dust to settle and for us to find out all the facts. But my weekly wrap has been replaced by Shout Out, dedicating a weekly song to a team or player for their good or bad performance. This week's shout out goes to Canberra United's sensational former Matilda, Michelle Heyman. She followed up last week's brace with a hat-trick against Adelaide, and she could be playing overseas, but has given and continues to give so much to the Women's A-League here, which can only help the game here in the future. So the song we send to you is Silverberg and Shelley Fairchild's uplifting track, Made to Shine.
Me shine. Just watch me shine.
And there's not many that shine much brighter in the league than her. So we hope to see you knocking in the goals for many more years to come. A-League men's table, Melbourne City 37 with an extra to play, Wanderers 31, Adelaide United also on 31, Central Coast on 28, Wellington also on 28, and Sydney FC a further point back on 27, rounding out the top 6. Good wins for the Wanderers. Adelaide, Wellington and Sydney have strengthened their finals positions. Unfortunately for the Mariners, who were sitting comfortably a few weeks ago, they've now had, without a win in 3, slipped from 2nd to 4th and are now looking over their shoulder at the chasing pack. So a lot to play for in the coming weeks.
Yeah, definitely. Plenty happening. City slipping at the top. Adelaide with a great win, and put pressure on Western Sydney for that top 2 spot. They're fighting for that. And then the 3 behind them, obviously Central Coast, Wellington, and Sydney. You think are probably nailed on for those 4, 5, and 6, but Newcastle and MacArthur with a late winner keep them in the hunt as well. So interesting to see how it goes, but I'm feeling that the top 6 is starting to take shape.
Yeah, so our Revolutionised Round-Up, we select a match of a day each, and then we do a mini review, just a few lines of the other 4 games. So in the main game, we do the score, the goal scorers, the players of the game, the turning point, and what we would have changed, either coach VIG or GO, to try and get a result, either for one team or both, or a better result. So the first game was Adelaide United versus Melbourne City on Friday. How did you see this one, VIG?
Yeah, this is my match of the round for me.
Not surprisingly.
Yeah, look, when I looked at the fixture, I thought this is an interesting fixture. It's always a good game. Always plenty of goals in this one. So final score was 4-2 to Adelaide. A little bit of a surprise. City have been flying in such good form. Adelaide a little bit up and down, but goal scorers for Adelaide were Lachlan Barr, Craig Goodwin, Lewis Dorigo, and Nestori Irankunda again. And for City was Andrew Nabu and Marco Tilio on the score sheet as well. And Irankunda with a late goal. He just scores bombs every week. Nice finish again. So player of the match. I'm going to wind the clock back a little bit and give it to the Spanish maestro Isais. So 2 assists in the game. He was just pulling strings all night like the old days. So good to see him back in the squad. I think he had a red card suspension.
It's been a tough season for him, hasn't it? He hasn't hit the same heights that he has previously in the A-League.
No, look, he's obviously getting on a little bit, and but he does still have that little bit of quality and class, and he can find that pass. But he's had a bit of a frustrating season with a few red card suspensions, and maybe the pace of the game is getting away from him a little bit. But I thought he was brilliant the other night, and really helped get the ball moving forward for Adelaide and get their attacking players in good positions and scoring goals off it. So he was my player of the match.
No better way for him to prove his doubters wrong than putting in a performance like that against the league leader City.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a class player. He's been a class player in the league for a number of years, and yes, he's getting on, but he still does have it. But yeah, the turning point for me, there was a McLaren miss in the first half, and then coupled with Lachlan Barr's goal in first half stoppage time to make it 1-1. So that goal. A goal before half time, it's always a coach killer. It changes the momentum of a game. And Adelaide go in with their tails up. it's a bit of a blow for City going into half time, and they come out in the second half, and Adelaide just blow them away in that first 10, 15 of the second half. So that was a turning point for me. And what I would have changed, Adelaide go 3-1 up when Luis Dorigo scored in the 57th, and Rado Vidicic, he only makes one sub in the 60th minute, and it's Scott Jamieson, a defender, for a midfielder in Van der Ven. So I think surely, I don't know. You bring
have a crack.
Yeah. You're 3-1 down. I don't understand. You're putting a defender on to shore up the back line so you don't lose 4-5, 6-1 or something like that. It doesn't really make sense to me. You got Florent Berenguer on the bench. If he wasn't fit or something, then he shouldn't be in the squad. But surely, I know the score's 3-1. There's still 30 minutes to go. You've got to put attacking players on and try and get something out of the game.
Mate, quick question for you. After a fantastic win like that for Adelaide against the league leaders, who have been flying, is Adelaide's Achilles heel their defence? So they've conceded 31 goals this year, only slightly better than the three teams who have conceded the most, who have got the worst, defences. They've conceded 2 goals on 5 occasions, 3 goals on 2 occasions, and 4 goals on 2 occasions. So is it an issue? Can their attack, shine through and they can get away with this in finals football, or is that just too big a leaky boat to get you all the way to the big dance and claim the title?
Yeah, look, it's a lot of goals, and I'm looking at their goal difference. It's only +4 at the moment. So, look, I think it is an issue. If I'm honest, their attack's been really good and probably bailed them out a few times. But if you're conceding 2, 3, 4 goals a game, then you're making it very difficult for yourself, and you're putting a lot of stress and emphasis on your attackers to bail you out. So I think it may be their undoing come the end of the season and going into finals. I think they'll definitely be there for the finals, and once you get in there, yes, things can change, and it's anyone's game for the taking. But I think it could be their undoing in the end.
All right. Moving on to the first of the 4 Saturday games. So Wellington Phoenix versus Newcastle Jets. The final score was 2-1. The Phoenix continue their impressive season with a win against the inconsistent Jets. Zawada with his 11th of the season, and Sale is as solid as a rock at the other end as usual, keeping themselves wedged inside the top 6. So the question I have for you, VIG, is, I know we're looking at this current season, but how much will they miss Sale, Lewis and Ugarkovic, who have all announced that they'll be moving on at the end of the season? Is it a distraction too?
Yeah, it may well be. I think Ollie Sale's a big one. He's been tremendous for them all year. He's pulled out some big saves in big key moments during games. So, I think that they may miss him, but there's plenty of other good keepers around the league, and probably some good young keepers in NZ. They're coming through the ranks. So, one door closes and another opens for someone else to slot into that spot. And the others, I'm not sure they'll be a huge miss, but players announcing they're leaving halfway through the season, it's a bit awkward. It's a bit weird, if you ask me.
Mate, if you bet on anyone to be able to recover from losing players, it's Ufak Talay. He did it last year, he did it the year before. He's the king of finding new guys. This year he's got Kraev, Zawada, all these sorts of guys. So, look, if anyone's capable and up to the challenge, it's definitely him. Moving on to the second of the Saturday games, it was the blockbuster between Western Sydney Wanderers and the Central Coast Mariners. The final score, this is my match of the round. So the final score was 2-0 to the home team, the Wanderers. The goal scorers were Brandon Borello in the 26th and Romain Malfitano in the 60th. For me, not surprisingly, if you watch the game, my player of the match by far and away was Socceroo and Wanderers star Borello, who's continuing his outstanding season back in the A-League. With his 8th goal, plus he's had 2 assists this season. There's been a lot of weight on his wide shoulders this season, considering they don't have a real target man, and we've highlighted this on many occasions. So he's contributed immensely in the attacking end of the pitch, as well as he's also tracking back and doing his share there. So he's been absolutely fantastic, and I know you've been very impressed by the way he's performed this season as well.
Yeah, definitely. Look, he's just an absolute machine, isn't he? He runs all day, and we've known that for a long time. He's a physical presence, and he's not an out-and-out striker, but he's playing up top in a sort of a 2-man attack. So He's obviously preferred position is, I think, more wider and coming in, but he's really found his spot there at the Wanderers, and he's scoring goals now. So he's added that to his game, and fitness wise and the effort he puts in, closing down, playing that high press. He does a lot of work off the ball, but now he's sort of reaping the rewards with the ball and scoring lots of goals. So hats off to him, and we spoke about it last week. I think he should be in the mix for a Socceroos call-up.
I was going to say it's definitely a great advertisement for the A-League because, to be honest, he was nowhere near when he was playing in Germany. I know it might be a great opportunity to say you're playing in the Bundesliga or playing professionally in Germany and stuff, but he wasn't getting to show what he's capable of because he wasn't getting to play enough. And when we saw glimpses, that's great, but he wasn't. He's come back here in the A-League. The competition's solid. He's every week he's going out there and showing what he's capable of, and that's a better show reel than what he was doing over in Germany. So hats off to him. Congratulations. And, bigger and better things probably for him to come with the remainder of the season. The turning point for me was the problem is there was no turning point. And this is not a catch. This is not a joke, but there was no turning point. They came out of the blocks slow, the Mariners. They never got into gear and were second best most of the evening. So I don't think that anything changed for them. It was exactly like the same from the first minute to the 90th minute. They were just, the second best team on the pitch, and it's no disgrace because the Wanderers are a real good side with real good depth, but it's definitely not the Mariners team that we've seen throughout the season, and they are entitled to a night off. Even the last couple of games where they've dropped points, at home last week to Wellington and so on, they at least dominated the game. They just couldn't close it out, but in this one they just didn't even get close to dominating the game. So that's how I saw it. And the last thing is that what I've done to change the game. So with the Wanderers line up with a 4-4-2 block and the Mariners countered with a 4-1-4-1, I would have liked to have pushed Silveira or Nkalolo before he got sent off, or Theo Harris or Tulio, who came on off the bench further forward. Like you're playing against a block that's sitting back, and they're kind of well set up, but they've got their two forward, and they're going to get one or two guys supporting them, but they're going to have six behind the ball, including a keeper. So I just didn't think that was an easy way of breaking this team down, and especially when you went behind one and then two. I know you end up losing and going down to 10 men, but that was only after the Wanderers had lost a player and gone down to 10. So I just wish he'd done more and gone at them. I'm not sure why he didn't, but that's why he's there and he's the one making the calls and I'm not. But I just would have wished they'd gone a little bit harder at the Wanderers.
Yeah, Monty didn't because I think he was up in the stands. So maybe the radio was broken. Getting down to the assistants. So
the cookie boxes, the McDonald's cookie boxes with the string, it broke.
Yeah, the string must have snapped in half or something. But I don't know. I just feel the Mariners, they've sort of lost their way over the last couple of weeks. A bit of ill discipline with some red cards, and that the Wanderers get a player sent off in Marcelo, and then they end up scoring and going 2-0 up. So I just think maybe they're starting to show there's a bit of a lack of leadership in that. They've got a lot of young players. But yeah, just some silly moments in football matches that are costing them at the moment.
Moving on to the third of the Saturday games, it was Western United hosting Perth Glory. What happened here?
Yeah, it was the young Noah Bodic show again. The 21-year-old scored the winner in a 2-1 come from behind victory out at Mar Stadium in Ballarat.
The old bull fed him fed a middle-aged bull who fed the young bull.
The young bull's he's on fire at the moment.
Diamante to
Bodic.
To Lockie Wales to Bodic.
To Bodic, yeah. And it was a great finish, to be honest.
It was sensational technique.
That technique to chest that, to bring it down, to have the spatial awareness, to know that there's no one around you, and to know that you have the time and space to actually do that. That shows a bit of maturity beyond his years, I think. And like I said, I think after getting a bit of a few run of games now, he's finding that confidence and he's showing his class. And that's a striker. That's a finish that you'd see a striker that's played 10, 15 seasons in a league anywhere in the world. So hats off to him. He's hit a bit of a purple patch. But yeah, that was just absolutely brilliant technique to score that, and it was the eventual winner in the end. After was it Tongo Doumbia, I think, equalised in the 42nd minute after Jordan Elsie's goal gave Perth the lead. So 2-1 to Western United. But yeah, the name on everyone's lips leaving the stadium is Noah Bodic, and I think Aloisi was sort of quick to put a bit of a cooler on it and say, just, give him some space, and let's not get on him and big him up too much, because he's still got a long way to go, but he is a player for the future.
Mate, I'm going to tell Aloisi you should be pumping him up, because I'll be honest, you've let too many of your young players go this year and you're relying on old legs. So if you've got a young guy in there who's doing the job at the moment, maybe that's the way you should have been heading. And I'm not saying they should get rid of all the guys in there with experience, but he let a couple of guys go, and he's been banking on the older guys rather than the younger guys. So if I was him, he got this one right, I'd be pumping it up and putting it all over my socials. But quick question before we move on: is Perth the most disappointing team this season? So second last, only 5 wins. They added in the transfer window Taggart and Elsey, who are 2 quality players to their already good roster. They've only got 7 points out of their last 24. I don't know if there's any truth in the rumour that there was Fight Club between, Ruben Zakovic and Collie, but things don't seem to be going well there. And I expected Perth to make a genuine run, in January for the finals, and now they're going backwards. They might, if there was relegation, they'd be looking at the wooden spoon.
Yeah, they're just a frustrating club, I think, at the moment. And they've been a frustrating club for a couple of years now. So they just can't seem to find that consistency or that right mix and balance of players. They've been, we spoke about they've been good at home at Macedonia Park in a smaller venue this year with a great crowd there each week. But then away from home, they've just been disappointing. And like you said, 7 points from the last 24. Is probably not good enough and not worthy of a spot in the finals. So they've got a long way to go. They've still got a young coach, a lot of young players in the squad. If they were to make a top 6 finish this year, it would have been a massive achievement. So it's not all doom and gloom, but when you've got players, adding players like you said, Jordan Elsey, who's had wealth of experience in the league, Adam Taggart coming back. He needs the service up top to be to get back to his days where he was one of the top strikers in the A-League. So if he's not getting that service, then it's going to be very difficult for him to score any goals for Perth.
And the last of the Saturday games was the Big Blues, Sydney FC versus Melbourne Victory. The final score was 1-1. Not a vintage performance from Sydney, who is struggling to fire, but a nice strike by Anthony Caceres gave the Sky Blues 3 points, bragging rights in the Big Blue, and an important step towards finals football, not to mention cementing the enemy to the bottom of the table. It
is 1-0 the final score. So
1-0.
I think you said 1-1. It's all right.
1-0.
You're trying to sneak a point in there for victory, but
it was to do with me liking the victory. Nothing to do with that. It was a slip of the tongue.
Yeah, look, it was one of those games. I think Sydney had to they ground it out in the end. Max Burgess with a silly red card. I think he's copped a 2-week suspension from that. Just a bit of frustration on his behalf, and
I've told him off air he needs to go and do some yoga or something, but apparently he's doing lots of yoga. So I'm not sure at the moment. He's in the best form he's ever been in. He's scoring goals. Kareka's loving him. He's playing every week. So I don't know what he's got to be cranky about. I don't know if he's had a bad bet. I don't know if he's lost his favourite shoes. He's sick of the rain some days, and next day it's hot. I'm not sure what's going on with Maxi Burgess, but mate, you should be loving life.
Yeah, he should be, and it's disappointing. A bit of a lapse of concentration or just silly behaviour, really. So. And he knew it straight away. But good to see Caceres on the score sheet. I thought Ryan Grant was good getting forward. Probably a fair result in the end, but I think Victory will probably walk away from this one thinking we should have got something out of this game.
They're walking away saying, please end the season. And moving on to the last of the last game of the round, it was the only Sunday game. It was Macarthur Bulls welcoming Brisbane Roar to Campbelltown. What happened in this one, VIG?
Yeah, it was a 5-goal thriller, and the Bulls are back to winning ways. Goals to Macarthur for Arabuli, Miller and McGinn, and goals to Brisbane Roar to O'Shea and Lofthouse. But yeah, it was a bit of heartbreak for Brisbane in this one, I guess, after fighting back from 2-0 down to get it to 2-2. They showed some good character there. O'Shea scored in the 78th and then Lofthouse in the 80th. So they've pulled it back to 2-2 with 10 to go and probably thinking we're going to get something out of this game away from home. And Macarthur at that stage are probably thinking this one's slipped away from us. We've let a 2-goal lead, the most dangerous lead in football. I don't know what it is, but that scoreline is. I'd love to know, find a stat of how many teams have been leading at 2-0 at half time or after 65, 70 minutes and have gone on to either draw or lose the game. But
hey, give me 2-0 any day of the week. I'll take 2-0 every single game, and I don't care if the stats show that 85% of the teams, my teams won't be losing if I'm beating 2-0 at half time. I'm telling you.
That's it. So, but yeah, there was a bit of late drama. There was a red card to Jordan Courtney Perkins for a second yellow. In stoppage time. It was a bit of a nothing challenge. It was
a nothing. It was nothing.
It was stupid, but you've seen him given before, and he's copped a second yellow and been sent off. And that was followed by a Jake McGinn winner from
I'm not saying DOG he shouldn't have been sent off if it's 2 yellow card offences, but if he gets a miss one week, he should have just, whatever your punishment you've given the team there, whether you missed 1 minute of the game or you missed 80 minutes of the game, that's enough. Like there wasn't any foul play. There was no malice. It was just a tired tackle. It was a nothing. So now to miss a game, I just find that ludicrous. Anyway, I don't know. That's one of the rules I need to look at.
Yeah, it's stupid. But it was a nice controlled header from Jake McGinn to score the winner in stoppage time. And I think it was a Ivan Vujicic cross. He sort of just lobbed back into the box, into the mixer and towards the back post. And I think it got caught up in the wind a little bit and McGinn sort of had to adjust his body, but it was a lovely controlled header and a worthy winner in the end.
Mate, with the late win, the Bulls are only 3 points outside the top 6. Can they play finals football?
That's it's a good question. Honestly,
they can, but will they? I'll put that to you.
Yeah, look, they can. They're back in the mix now, but I still don't think they can.
Okay, and is that because Matt Miller's got 5 goals this year, right? And he's their leading scorer, which is a fantastic contribution and says a lot about his performance this year as a fullback. But does that say a lot about their attack this season too? He's the leader from fullback and he's got 5 goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's some more issues at that club, underlying issues that have probably been papered over by a few wins this season. So I know they're back in the hunt. Mathematically, yes, they can make the 6, but my gut feeling and the way they perform and the way they play and the way that club is set up at the moment, come the end of the season, it's a no for me.
Up after the break, we welcome to the player escape room former A-League striker, now leading the line for Heidelberg, Kaine Sheppard. We'll talk to you after the break.
You're listening to the Football Revolution.
Joining us now in the player escape room is former Newcastle Jets and Western United forward. Please welcome to the show, Heidelberg United, nice guy, Kaine Sheppard. G'day, Kaine. How are you?
Good. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me on board and thanks for the nice introduction.
Mate, it's great to have you here. And, mate, I'll explain a little bit later why I've referred to you as the nice guy. I know there's a lot of football terms, nice football terms that people refer to you as, but I'll explain to you the nice guy. But, mate, you're now in your second spell at Heidelberg, which you've done previously with multiple stints at Histon as well as Avondale. You've started the season with a draw and a loss. How's the vibe in the squad?
To be honest, the vibe's still very good. I think pre-season was good. It was good for me. I had my first full pre-season in a good couple of years because I've been in and out of clubs. So it was nice for me to have a full pre-season. We got a few new players in. We're trying to, play a bit more football and work on a few things. Dandenong was a tough game. They're always a tough game, especially if you can see the goal early against them. They'll just defend like they did against us and, try and catch on the counter-attack, which, to be fair, they did well. We couldn't get the goal. And then Hume, I think we needed to get a win there. We had a good few opportunities, but I think everyone in the league has been a bit, a few draws. There's only been, I think, 2 teams that have had 2 wins out of 2. So it's still pretty much everyone's in there at the moment, but we don't want to get too far away where we fall too far behind.
Mate, there's another chance tomorrow night to get your first win versus St Albans, but that's obviously a very important thing for you guys at the moment. But the other thing I'm really concerned about is this photo of you that's on the Victorian MPL site of you bandaged up like Humpty Dumpty. I'm not sure what this is. Like I said, you're a good-looking rooster. I don't understand where they're going with this. Can we get a petition started to get this photo replaced or torn down or something?
Honestly, I would love if there was a petition to get this photo taken off Google completely. I even have family back home in England who still see this photo and they send me it and say, what happened to your head and what's this pineapple on your head? You look a mess and all this stuff. So if you could start that, we can make that happen. I'll be very happy.
Mate, they're probably really concerned. They're looking there going, what the hell is Australia doing to our son?
Well, it's kind of catch-22 because I got a pineapple on, but then I'm smiling, running away, celebrating. So they're probably thinking I'm a bit crazy. So...
Mate, last year was a great year for you, sharing the NPL Victorian men's gold medal, the best player with Joe Knowles. So congratulations. That's a fantastic achievement. And it shows that you've still got plenty of football left in you. What prompted you to return to the Warriors?
Yeah, thank you, firstly. I'll give a shout out to George Mills as well, because he had the same points as us too, I think. He just had a red card. So I told him not to tackle so much, because otherwise you get red cards. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
that would have been the first three-way split. I think they've had a couple of dual winners before, but I don't think they've had a three-way. So he's probably avoided having history in the books of having all three of you, but sharing it with one other is probably a little bit better for you.
Yeah, I think from what they said, it was the first joint one they've had as well with Knowlesy. So obviously he had a really good season, and now he's up at Brisbane, and I still watch some of the games he plays in, and it was good for him to score his first goal a couple of weeks ago. So well deserved. But yeah, for me personally, it was a good season. Coming out of the A-League as well, having to make a few decisions, coming back to NPL. From a team's perspective, we didn't start off very well last year either, so it was tough in that regard. We still made finals by the end of it, but we made tough work of it. But for me personally, it was nice to score plenty of goals and play striker and just play. I was involved in every single game, I think, which was like 32, 33 games, including cup as well. And then, to win the gold medal, I was very surprised. I had no speech prepared, no nothing. I had no hints that I was going to be up there, and I was actually sitting in the room, and I had the way I was sitting, I had my back to the board, and they were announcing the votes, and I was in the middle of eating my chocolate dessert or whatever they gave us, which was beautiful. And then I turned around, and they're like, "You're 2 points off winning this." And I was like, "Really?" And then I remembered, I think I scored a goal or got an assist or something in the last couple of rounds, and I was like, "Oh, I could be on here." And it got announced at the end as a joint, so I was pretty happy.
Mate, where's the medal now? Have you got it hanging pride of place in your place, or has it just been thrown in the sock drawer, or where is it currently sitting?
No. So my A-League shirts, my medals, whatever I've got, I send them to England and they go back to my brother, and he puts them all in frames. So currently he's put in, I think it was my FA Cup shirt from Heidelberg in a frame, and he's got the gold medal as well to go in the frame as well.
Mate, there's another reason for nice guy, and I haven't even touched on why I call you that. Mate, the even better news was not only did you get the best player of the league, but they didn't put that photo of you up on the big board either when you received it. That would have taken some of the gloss away, wouldn't it?
I think I would have walked out the exit door and just asked someone to pick up the medal for me, and I'll get it off them the next day.
Mate, looking at, like I said, you got Player of the Year last year. You did share it with Joe Knowles, but it still shows that you were, the best player in the Victorian NPL, which is a very strong league. So obviously there's a few A-League clubs that have egg on their faces who may have had an opportunity to take you. You're still only 29, so you are still a player that could add a lot of value. So, mate, is there a team in the A-League that you think would suit your style? Because I'm not going to say that they should be looking at, what they should do for you, but what you could do for them, because you're the player of the year in the NPL, right? In the Victorian NPL. So you should be still hot commodity. So is there a team you think that they should be looking for you?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because for me, I scored plenty of goals, but in the league itself, I had to learn how to play just as an out-and-out number 9. Whereas in previous years, I kind of played as a bit of a 9, a bit of a 10, dropped into pockets. But my role last year was specifically just an out-and-out number 9. I still got a few assists, so it was interesting for me to learn that stuff. But I learned from people like Roy O'Donovan.
Love the big
the big man himself. I know he's a Sydney Olympic at the moment and still scoring the goals. So I learned a lot from him. Ernie Merrick used to teach me a lot playing number 9 as well. So that he was my first coach. And then even when I went to Western United, I learned a lot from Barisha as well, who taught me a load of stuff and would give me some stick sometimes if we were doing passing patterns and my movement wasn't very good. He'd have a bit of a go at me, but it was good because I learned lots of stuff, and then it was kind of nice because in a way I put it into practice last season. And in terms of A-League clubs, if they're looking for a striker, a number 9 that wants to a bit more of a traditional one, I suppose, in a way, because I'm still fairly tall. I just want to hold the ball up and get in the box and score the goals pretty much. So at the end of the day, my aim was to have a good season and do my best for Heidelberg. And see if anything came from that in terms of A-League again. I did put my name out there again, but nothing had come up at that point.
Mate, you've surely done that by what you achieved last year. So, look, mate, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to see I'm going to start digging around. Surely they want the Player of the Year, right? they've got one of them, Joe Knowles, Brisbane. They were smart enough to snap him up. But we'll start looking around. I hope, like I said, that you get back into the A-League soon. But if not, I reckon there could be a chance with big Roy O, right, assistant coach at Olympic. He's not going to play forever. So when he steps down, obviously at the moment, there's probably not room with him there. But if he decides at the end of this year to hang the boots up and he'll just stick with the clipboard, maybe we'll see you in Sydney, mate. That'd be exciting for Olympic fans and for me because that's closer to me.
Yeah, it would be, but honestly, I can't see Roy hanging up his boots anytime soon. You know, he's still doing well. He's still banging in the goals. And if this second division or whatever happens, I can see him being involved in it and enjoying it because I know him. I know he loves football and I know he's getting into his coaching. But, I mean, I enjoy scoring goals and I know he loves scoring goals too. So, honestly, I can't see him hanging up his boots anytime soon.
Mate, there's only so much he can juggle. He's got 2 kids. He's got Network 10. He's got Sydney Olympic, assistant coach at Sydney Olympic, playing at Olympic. Something has to give, right? So he's not giving the kids away because they're fantastic. He loves being on the camera, so that's definitely staying. So something at Olympic has to give, right? So maybe there's a chance, like I said, we see you in the famous blue of Olympic next year.
Maybe he's got my number, so we'll wait to see if he gives me a call if he listens to this podcast.
Oh, mate, well, he used to be a guest host up until last year. He was doing a regular segment in the know with Roy O for me last year, and he was the star of the show. And then this year, Channel 10 stole him. So I love every second of it. But as disappointing as it is, he's gone to bigger and greater things. So I can't begrudge him, right?
Yeah, that's true. He's doing well on Channel 10. I love listening to him. I know sometimes my partner's like, what did he say? He's talking a bit fast at the moment, but so I have to translate that for him. But no, he's doing a good job.
Mate, speaking of a men's second division, which is obviously open at the moment and with entries to close in March and then to be penciled in to start next March, does your club Heidelberg have ambitions to be in that league, do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they put out a video on their social media the other day that they were or they had applied or were applying for the expression of interest. So they put that on their social medias the other day, and I know from conversations they're keen to get back in there. And ever since I've moved over, to be honest, and had my first stint at Heidelberg, I know the president and the board and stuff like that have had ambitions to work towards, you know, the infrastructure of the club. And if there is to be a second division, I always know that's what they've worked towards. And now they're making it happen. It's been a long road for them, but they're getting there. And hopefully it happens and hopefully they'll be in it.
Mate, no one can believe it's been, 15 or 16 years since great clubs like Heidelberg and Arpia and that have been in the top division. So hopefully we can get this up off the ground. But your team finished 6th last season, as you said, and was knocked out in the finals by Oakley Cannons on penalties, those dreaded penalties. Yep. What is the goal this year? So obviously you're looking to try and do as well as you can because of the fact that there is a second-tier competition coming around, and maybe that's one of the criteria. But what's the club looking to achieve this year?
Firstly and foremost, make finals again. Every year it should be to make finals, but we don't just want to make finals. We want to be up at the table again, you know, like they had a few years back when they were winning championships and things like that. And since then, I know they've had a bit of a turnover of players. Some of them were a bit older and moved on and things like that. And we're happy they won plenty of trophies. So I think we would just like to get back up there. We, you know, obviously the ultimate goal is to win a trophy as well, leading into that second division and build some momentum and look forward to that.
They're in a good position. They've got the current player of the year in their squad. So it should be good signs ahead. Mate, you mentioned, I mentioned earlier that you are a nice guy, and it's not just only because your former teammates I speak to tell me you have a big heart, and that is also proven, but by KS Foundation that you founded in 2019. Please tell us a little bit more about this initiative. So I know what it does, but I'd rather hear it come from you. You founded it. It's your baby. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so this happened when I was at Newcastle. I had an injury and I ended up having surgery on it, which kept me out for, I think, 4 or 5 months in the end. And we have the PFA come in and they talk to you about doing stuff outside of football, whether it's like finding a job or something for the future that you like, or, you know, working with charities. And I decided at the time I wanted to look at charities. So I reached out to a couple and I realised they were taking too long to get back to me because I had too much other stuff going on. And I wanted to do something, and it was more for my brother. My brother has autism and he still lives in England. And I did a bit more research into that and had a look and just decided to start the KS Foundation. And basically what we created was sensory rooms. So we would provide a place at the stadium, which Laurie McKenna was the CEO at the time and who was fantastic with everything. He'd give us a box, he'd give us tickets. and we would essentially invite families in with children with autism, and they would come and watch the game in a box. And it just provides them with a safe environment where if stimulants get too much, such as noise, the lights, the crowd, weather, or whatever it might be, they can come back into the room, and we set up a room where they have tents, they have headphones, they have stuff to calm them down, and then they can come back in. But the main difference pretty much is they're able to watch the game at the same time. Whereas sometimes if they go and they sit in the stands, and this stuff sets them off, or they have a bit of a reaction, they normally have to leave because they have nowhere where they can retreat. So families sometimes wouldn't even go. So we were lucky enough to have families come together and watch games, and some of them have never done that as a family before. So they were able to do that and enjoy that. And I was nervous on my first one. I've had some real good people help me with it. The main one's been Shane Brolo in Newcastle. He volunteers every single time, and he's really good with the kids and all that stuff. And the first one we did, I was really nervous. I didn't think we were going to have any families, and I was up there myself because I was injured. And then I think halfway through the season, we had a waiting list of people who wanted to come and watch the Jets play and just enjoy the room and come as a family. And then from there, we did a Melbourne City game before COVID, and we did a Matildas game as well, which was amazing.
That's absolutely sensational, mate. And it just goes to show, like I said, if you want to do something badly enough, you'll do it. And you've obviously got a big push in the fact that your brother has autism. So he's lucky to have a brother like you. And mate, it's fantastic. And if there's any way that the Football Revolution can ever help, mate, please let me know, because it's a fantastic initiative, and everyone should be able to enjoy the world's greatest games. So mate, congratulations to you. It's a fantastic charity.
No, I appreciate that. And I was lucky enough that my brother was able to come out to Australia when I was playing at Newcastle. My family, my mum and dad came too, and they saw what we created, which was good, because I never really understood it too much when I was growing up. I know that my brother used to get pretty angry at games, and he used to, if I got tackled or something, they'd abuse the ref and things like that. And my dad used to have to come in. But I never really understood why and what happened. And then when I did, and creating this room was amazing. And due to COVID, we didn't really do anything for a couple of years, because we did do a couple of football clinics as well, just for children with autism to come down and just basically have a kick and have some fun, nothing too serious, just have a run around, learn some skills. And then, due to COVID, we pretty much ended up being pretty much closed down, because, there was these bills or whatever, and it was all coming out of our own pockets as well. So we never, took any money or anything like that from it. And then luckily I spoke to the FA last 2 weeks ago, and we managed to do a small one for the Matildas game in Newcastle last week. So that was good. And then I'll put a little plug in here. My aim is hopefully to have at least one or two, or be involved somehow at the Women's World Cup.
Okay, absolutely brilliant, mate. It's fantastic what you're doing. And I just think that the football's lucky to have someone like you, mate, who's willing to put their time in and do this. And it's a fantastic cause. So, mate, all the best with that. Mate, I'm not going to start rumours here, but like I said, you've got Roy O, who's at Olympic. Laurie McKinnor's at Olympics. So you've mentioned another person who's a big wig now at Sydney Olympics. So, mate, this is starting to gain momentum, right? So if people see you at Olympic next year, they heard it here first, right? This is where it all started. And I know this is disappointing for Heidelberg fans, but it's exciting for Olympic fans, and we'll leave it at that.
And the worst part is I know Labby well as well.
We didn't hear that, mate. Mate, let's get stuck into the first game I like to play with my guests. It's called Six-A-Side. I usually compare you with a current teammate one-on-one, but I'm going to put a spin on it this time and leave it open to all former or current teammates. You ready to play?
Ready.
Which player has the best sense of humour?
Oh, Jason Hoffman.
Okay, at the Jets.
At the Jets when I was there, he was always cracking jokes, and he just loved it. And
he's still going around too.
Yeah, what, with his jokes or his football?
With both, I think. I think it's a dead heat. I think he's still cracking the jokes, and he's still out there playing for the Jets. So he's doing well.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's always cracking everybody up, and the best part is he's always laughing at his own jokes. So I'll give him that one.
Okay, so just off the back of that, and this is not one of the other questions. So who do you miss most out of the teams you've been at, the Jets and Western United? Who do you miss the most and wish they'd come with you to Heidelberg, or that you'd followed each other around?
Oh, what a question. Roy's definitely one of them, because we always got on well.
Yeah.
And the other one would be Ronnie Vargas.
Okay.
just because I loved him, his accent, everything about him. Such a nice guy. We got on really well. And yeah, now he's obviously retired. But he could probably still do the job in NPL if anyone needs him. Not Sydney Olympic though.
Okay, but they're two cracking players and two cracking lads. So, mate, not surprised. Which player is guaranteed to pick up a joint bill? So if you go for breakfast as a team, I know there's guys that run, there's plenty of those guys that run, even though they're on big paper. Who's one of those guys who's straight away happy to pick up the joint bill?
Oh.
Who's guaranteed the best at it?
That's a tough question. I'm going to say Danny Georgescu.
Okay. He's got even more cash now, right?
Oh,
is he on Network 10? He's on Network 10 now as well. And
Network 10 runs his own academy.
That's what I'm saying. So look, it's nice. Sometimes people have money because they hold on to it, but he seems to have money and spend it. So that's quite impressive.
Yeah, I might have to hit him up for a breakfast.
Yeah, I was going to say, mate, I might too. I might just send him a message saying, hey, mate, bit hungry. I wouldn't mind some smashed avo and toast. So, all right, beautiful. Who takes the longest in the shower?
The longest in the shower.
Yeah, who's one of those guys that you just know the rest of the team's gone, and as you walk out, you see their partner or their family just sitting there going, oh, God, is he still in the shower?
There was a couple when I was at Newcastle. I'm going to say Lockie Jackson.
Okay.
He was always in the shower for a long time. Matt Miller was always in the shower for a long time. And Bobby Burns, when he was at Newcastle.
Okay.
But him and Matt Miller were normally in there together arguing about something. And they never really knew what they were arguing about, but they would argue for a very long time, and they were in there for ages.
Well, I'm hoping that MacArthur Bulls has a strong hot water system, right? So, because he's doing a lot of running now, he's scoring goals as well. He's doing all these extra kilometres he doesn't need to do, so he's probably sweating more. So I'm hoping they have a good hot water system there at the Bulls.
Oh, I always just asked Matty why he enjoyed running so much, and he's like, I'm playing right back, and I just want to get up front. And whenever we used to play five-a-sides, he would never pass the ball, and he would always just get it and shoot. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say this, it didn't go in, but luckily for him this season, in games, he's going, and he's top goal scorer.
Well, someone has to step up, right, at the Bulls. So
maybe they need a striker.
I know. This is starting to momentum again, Kaine. Who is the best roommate? Doesn't have to be someone that you shared with. It might just be one of your teammates who said he's the best, and you just never got around to sharing a room with him. But who's the best roommate?
Oh, the best roommate.
You can also flip it. If there's someone that you think's terrible and you can't come up with one that you like, I'm happy for you to throw someone under the bus, even though you're a nice guy.
A good roommate for me was Brad Inman. When we went to Tasmania, I think, and we spent like 10 days together. And we did everything together. We didn't leave each other's side, and we were pretty chilled out. And he was good too. He would take me for coffees, and in that sense too, maybe because maybe he thought I was a good roommate, and I was looking after him for 12 days.
Yeah, I'd say more than likely, Mr. Nice Guy. I'd say that could be the case. Who is the best trainer, whether it be on the pitch at training or in the gym? If you could just say one player that you know everyone just looked at and was like, this guy's a beast?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Barisha, actually, when I was at Western United.
Yeah.
He was always looking after his body. He didn't miss many sessions. You'd walk in the gym in the morning and he's already in there on the treadmill or on the bike or doing his exercises. And for someone who was coming towards the end of their career at the time and still so hungry to score goals, from that point of view, I'd probably say him.
I love that because my young fella's a striker too, and he thinks you just turn up and you score goals. So that you've told us that you have to work hard and be the first in the gym and the last out. I love that because now he will start to realise that you have to put the work in. So I'm glad you've chosen someone who is, he's currently the all-time leading scorer, but I know he's got J-Mac chasing him down. So he will be for maybe a week or two longer, or maybe even slightly longer, but it's only a matter of time. But yeah, he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, he was good for me. Like I said, I learned a lot from him and just his movements and the hunger he had to score goals and stuff like that. But probably the other one, thinking about it now, coming back to it for a good trainer, was when I was in England, Leyton Orient. And people always ask me about this one, so I'm not just giving it a plug, but Harry Kane came on loan when I was at Leyton Orient.
I'm a Spurs fan, so you got my attention already, Kaine.
Yeah, I'm a Spurs fan too. So, but he came on loan to Leyton Orient. I think he must have been 18 and I was 17. He came on loan with Tommy Carroll.
Okay.
I'm sure you remember him too. And everyone was raving about Tom Carroll, how good he was. He never gives the ball away, and people were talking about Harry Kane and saying, "Oh, we're not sure about him" and all this. But I did shooting and training with him after. I didn't really train much with him in the first team. I played against him in the reserves against Tottenham as well. But again, he's another one who was in the gym. He was on the pitch and always just scoring the goals, and you could tell he had something for scoring goals, and just the mentality as well. Just that he was on loan, but he never, lost belief or faith. And you hear him now talking, and he always believed that he would do well. And luckily for us as Tottenham fans, he scores us some goals because we need him to. Otherwise, we'd be in trouble, wouldn't we?
Look, I know you're saying he's scoring goals. He didn't this morning. I know he only made a cameo off the bench, but we're hoping he's saving those up for AC Milan next week. So fingers crossed. He's got a couple of those stashed away for when we play the Italians again.
Yeah, I hope so. We need him to do something because we need something special because we seem to crumble in these big games. As much as I hate to say it, we crumble. And I feel for him because I want him to win a trophy as well.
Yeah, me too. But, mate, look, I did notice too that you didn't put him in there as the guy who pays the split bills. So I'm going to throw him in there. So that means that maybe he can get the scale there.
I'd like to think he would now, but back in them days at Leyton Orient, I don't know what he was on. We were still at Tottenham. But now I'd like to say, yeah, I think he would take us out.
All right. And the last one, which player would make the best Hollywood actor?
Oh, Hollywood actor. You've got some good questions. They're not easy ones. You've got to think of the.
I know. That's the plan.
I'm going to have to go Danny Georgescu in, I think.
Okay.
He likes being in front of the camera. He likes talking and he likes acting a little bit. He likes doing his hair. So I think he could.
What sort of genre of movie do you think you'd be in?
Oh, romantic for sure.
Okay.
He'd be a love machine or something. Okay. He wouldn't want me to admit it, but he's deep down, he's very, soft-hearted, and he'd be good in a romantic film, I reckon.
Mate, if he's struggling for any gigs, I reckon you should be his agent. Honestly,
I reckon I'd do a good job. I wouldn't. If it was him, he'd say action thriller or something. But I don't think that's his type of film. That's why I should be his agent. I reckon.
All right, mate, you smashed that. Let's get into the second game I like to play, which is called 1-2. I'll give you a few topics, and you just tell me in a few words what your thoughts are on it. AFL.
The Swannies.
Are you a Swans man?
Oh, I don't really watch much AFL, but when I first moved to Australia, my housemate here was from Sydney, and he took me to a Swannies game, and ever since I just said I support the Swannies. So,
mate, I can't give you a hard time. I've lived in Sydney a lot of my life, and I'm a Hawthorn fan. So you just pick the team you like, right? There's reasons for everything. So as much as I don't like the Swannies, and I'm a big Hawks man, I respect your decision.
Thanks, but you're also Aussie. I'm also from England, so it makes it better for me.
Yeah, true. Celebrity crush. Anything, sports star, could be TV personality, celebrity crush.
Oh, sports star, I'm going to have to go Lewandowski.
Yep.
Just trying to think of, growing up, it was Jessica Alba.
Okay, yeah, nice choices.
Yeah, they're my two.
All right, so you don't have any posters of them still on the wall?
Lewandowski, maybe somewhere. Okay. I think my girlfriend's okay with me having Lewandowski on there. Maybe not so much Jessica Alba, but she's okay with Lewandowski.
Maybe if you just put them on the same picture, that way it looks like they're together and you're fine, right?
I've told her you can have your crush, who's I think is David Beckham, so she's all right. Just let me have mine.
Okay. Ability on the dance floor.
Oh, very, very limited.
Okay.
Very limited to a couple of slow moves.
Okay. Does the alcohol help with the dancing ability or no?
If anything, it probably slows it down a bit more.
Okay.
The hips maybe sway a bit more, but it definitely slows down.
All right. Something you've always wanted to do but have never tried.
Oh, good question. Play a professional tennis match.
Okay. Who's your favourite tennis player?
It was Federer. I like Nadal too. I played a couple games with Roy.
Yep.
I'm going to say that I beat him. He's probably not going to. He'll probably give me a call and say that's wrong.
Okay.
We both got beat by Ronnie Vargas,
Yep.
but I've had a few lessons, and maybe once I stop playing, it's something that I would consider trying be a bit more serious with. So maybe that.
Well, mate, where you are at the moment, you can go to the Australian Open, so there's plenty of good tennis for you. We unfortunately only get the side events here in Sydney, but I'm just impressed that you said tennis, because always everyone's talking about golf, and I don't get golf, so I much prefer tennis. So if there was some players playing tennis, I like that better.
Yeah, I love. I don't mind golf. Golf's okay. I get a bit bored sometimes, and if you start off and it's not a good round, it's very frustrating to continue 18 holes in a bad mood. Whereas, especially off season, tennis is good too. I think it's good for fitness and it's good fun. But I didn't notice Ronnie Vargas doesn't play much tennis anymore. He plays that paddle tennis.
Yeah, the paddle tennis. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he's not as fit as he used to be, and he has to be on a smaller court. So I might be able to beat him now.
All right, we'll set a match up. What motivates you to work hard?
Becoming better. I just want to improve on, last season I scored plenty of goals, won the gold medal, which was amazing. But this season it's more to still do those things, but get closer to winning a trophy. So, winning and just keep improving and keep seeing if I can challenge myself and do different things as well.
All right. And the last one, remembering special occasions. So birthdays, anniversaries, you good or bad?
I've got a lot better at this over the last 12 months. I used to be the day before, rushing around. My partner is very good at remembering everything, and she would remind me. For Mother's Day, Father's Day back home, she would remind me that I need to do all that stuff. So that's good. Otherwise, I'd be in big trouble. But I've got a lot better, and I've decided to put them in my calendar and give myself at least 3 weeks' notice.
Mate, this sounded like the start of AA. My name's Kaine Sheppard. I'm a recovered, special occasions stuff up merchant. So look, it's good that you found your feet again and you're starting to remember those. When's the last time you forgot something important?
Something important. I can't remember. It's my partner's birthday today, and I remembered that, and I've been organised for the last couple of weeks, so I'm just going to say I'm very good at it.
Okay, happy birthday to her.
Thank you.
Mate, as per usual, absolute star on and off the pitch, mate. I wish you all the best. I hope that things go well again with Heidelberg. I'm not sure how much better you can go personally, considering you were Player of the Year last year, so at best you can only equal that, so we wish that for you as well. All jokes aside, mate, I think whichever team's lucky enough to have you for the next, however many years you want to keep running around is good for them and good for their fans. So we wish you all the best with that. Good luck with the birthday celebrations tonight. I think you've got yourself into the good books by saying you don't forget anymore, and that means you've got a fantastic present stashed away somewhere, which I don't know what it is, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed and legs crossed, that you do. But, mate, once again, thank you so much for coming on the Football Revolution, and we'll check in with you again later in the year.
No, beautiful. I appreciate you having me on and finding out a little bit more about the story, and I really like what you're doing. So, yeah, appreciate you having me on board, and maybe a part 2 in the future.
No, most certainly. Thanks a lot.
You're listening to the Football Revolution.
Welcome back to the show. It was great chatting with Kaine, a fantastic guy, and we wish him good luck this season and all the best with his amazing foundation. So now it's time for our clinical finish. First segment is our What the Foot. This one, I think I touched on a little bit earlier. I jumped the gun, so apologies. But the fourth official in the A-League women's game on the 11th of February between Sydney FC and Canberra United. Canberra won the match 2-1, but made 4 subs at 4 different times, breaching the rules. And therefore, Sydney have been awarded the 3 points and a 3-0 win. This leaves the team from the Capitals' finals hopes on life support, and the Sky Blues' minor premiership hopes given a huge boost. Is this fair? Should the fourth official stop this from happening? Should they be punished for an error that happened by the fourth official?
Yeah, like I said before, I don't think the club should be punished for an error like this. I think it's up to the officials to monitor this and keep track of when the substitutions were made. I don't know the full story behind it. It's happened. Let's just move on, sort of thing. It happened. I don't know how many weeks ago did it happen.
Yeah, look, 11th of February was a game. It's now been on the 6th of March. If the fourth official was doing their job, which they're paid to do, they would have said, hey, hang on a sec, you can't make any more subs. So, yeah, I think they need to take some responsibility here, and I think it's very harsh, on Canberra United here. And to be honest, they said any goal of the year or any player of the year award points will still count, but they don't, because the game was null and void. So you're still saying that's still live and well, but the points aren't. So you've kind of gone for a hybrid of two options here, but it's either can the whole game or keep the whole game, and I would have kept the whole game. So that was my WTF what the foot for this week.
It's happened, like you said, it's in the past. Like, did it really affect the outcome of the game? Did Canberra win because this player was substituted on?
There's no.
Yeah, there you go. I think it's a mistake by the officials. They're there to officiate the game and make sure these things don't happen.
Just handle it in-house. Moving on to games to watch this week, Perth Glory could be a banana peel for the average travelling wanderers. So they haven't been great in travels, and Perth have been pretty good at Macedonia Park this year. So it could be a tough game for them. Mariners need to get back on track at home to the Bulls, and a final spot hangs in the balance when the 5th-placed Phoenix welcome the 6th-placed Sydney FC.
Yeah, I think the interesting game for me is probably Central Coast Macarthur. We spoke about it before. Macarthur, yes, they're back in the run to make the top 6. I think they're only 3 points behind Sydney now, but do they really deserve to be there? Have they really put in performances this season that warrant a top 6 finish? I've still got questions over that. So if they can beat Central Coast this weekend, maybe they can change my mind about it and maybe push for a run into the top 6. But a big game for Central Coast as well after a bit of a form slump in the last couple of weeks.
Moving on to our TFR fantasy update. So my round 20 score was 100. I did crack the 3 digits, so that takes my total to 1541. How did you fare in round 20, VIG?
Raise the bat, son, but I'm gonna match you and raise the bat myself. I got 106 points. Which takes my total to 1488. So slowly creeping up. I know it's only 6 points, but I'm just chipping away slowly, week in, week out.
I'm getting a bit nervous, mate, because I don't beat you at anything. So I was hoping that I could just cruise to victory here and I could just gloat a bit. But you're too good for me, so you're starting to close things in. So look, if you just keep chipping away at 6 points a week, I still think I got this in the bag. But if there's a week where there's a blowout and you get 20 or 30, I'll really start to sweat bullets. But look, it was another solid week for me. I made no changes. Zawada continues to be hot with another goal, getting me 12, which was 24 as my captain. Neuenhoff, fantastic again, scored. He got me 16. And the goal machine, Matt Miller, got me 15. Cold was Armiento. I don't blame him, though. He only got me 1 point, but he only had a 25-minute cameo off the bench. But there was no real points on my bench, and I used 0 subs. So an excellent week for me. Did you do much, or did you just fly by the seat of your pants again as usual? VIG stats, man.
No, bit of movement for me. I brought in 3 players. I brought in Ryan Grant, who got me 11 points. Khalifi at Perth, who only got me 3. I think I may have put a curse on him because he's normally good for a penalty or 2. The Krayev curse is on Khalifi. Apologies to him. And I brought in Henry Hall from Brisbane, who got me 12 points. So he did well.
Shopping from you.
A little bit of shopping. Malfitano on the score sheet as well. So and Iran Kunda up top on the score sheet, and Craig Goodwin as well. So I had a pretty solid week. A few players. I think Callum Talbot came off the bench, only got me 2 points. James McGarry.
If you keep with this smart selling and buying, after United got touched up 7-0 by Liverpool, they might be asking you in January to, at the end of the season, to be able to go and buy and sell for them. So this might be your dream gig. So just keep chipping away, and not only may you take me down, but you might also get a gig at your beloved United.
Man, I'm buying selling with peanuts at the moment. Imagine what I could do with the United budget. They're paying 80 million for Anthony. Imagine what I could do with that. So
I know, man. I hate to think.
If they're listening, I'm here. Get my number. Call Jerry. Get my number.
All right. If you missed any part of the show or you want to listen to the other episodes, where can they catch it?
Yeah, they can catch us on all good podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Also on Football Nation Radio across their platforms, and also the video up on our YouTube channel.
And if you want to VIG to buy and sell your players, you can text me and I'll give you his number and I'll sort something out for you. But things are heating up in both leagues, so plenty of games to enjoy this weekend. Thanks to our guest, Kaine Sheppard. If you haven't already, please get behind BMW in his 160-kilometre for AVM quest, which is an amazing thing that he's doing and a really worthwhile cause. And we hope you enjoyed the show even half as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. And we look forward to your company again next Tuesday. And as we say, until next week, rise up and join the football revolution. Have a great week. We'll catch you then.